Hey everybody, this is Andre here with the Kevin Breeze channel, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the AT&T Radiant Max. Let's get started. So this phone has a 6.5-inch LCD display with a resolution of 720p, a PPI of 264, and an aspect ratio of 19.5 by 9. We got a water drop notch here for the front-facing camera, and this camera is 8 megapixels. Right now, I do have the brightness at 100%, and I would say it looks pretty good. Besides the bottom bezel here, the phone does have pretty thin bezels and looks really nice. The display is definitely on the larger side at 6.5 inches. You're really going to get the benefit of having a large screen. This is going to be good for stuff like content consumption, whether you're streaming videos, playing a game, or even reading. It's always good to have a bigger display. And since the phone is so slim, even though the display is on the larger side, it's not really going to be uncomfortable for you to carry it in your pocket or hold it in your hand. The back here is made of a hard material that doesn't really pick up that many fingerprints. For storage, this phone has 32 gigabytes of internal storage with microSD card expansion. So for the average user, this should be okay. It's not a ton of storage. I've definitely seen a lot better, but at the same time, it's not too bad either. So as long as you're mindful of what you're putting on your phone, you should have no problem with storage, especially with the microSD card expansion. You can put all your photos and videos on that, no problem. But if you're more of a power user, if you have lots of games on your phone, or do things with your apps that take a lot of data, then you're probably going to want to look at a device that has 64 gigabytes instead of 32. Now this phone has no wireless charging, but for security, it does have a fingerprint scanner located right here on the back. Let's go ahead and give it a try. There we go. One more time. And there we go. The fingerprint scanner is really fast and responsive. No problem there. Now for the rear camera setup, we have a 13 megapixel rear camera, a 5 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. This phone also has portrait mode in both the rear and the front cameras. So as far as the features go, this phone pretty much has all the camera features, which is really nice considering the level it's at. You can also shoot videos in 1080p in both the rear and the front cameras. Now I'm going to turn it over to Kevin to show you some photo and video samples from this phone.
In general, I've actually been pretty impressed with the camera quality from the AT&T Radiant Max. Now obviously the quality that we're getting here isn't going to be nearly as good as a $1,000 smartphone, but that does make a lot of sense considering that the Radiant Max is an entry-level device. Now in general, I was able to take nice, good-looking, usable photos that also have decent colors as well. I also appreciate too that the focusing works really well. And in general, again, for this being a budget phone, I have no complaints. Now let's take a look at some video samples. What's going on everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a front-facing test video from the AT&T Radiant Max. Let me know what you think of the audio quality and video quality from this. What's going on everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with a 1080p video from the AT&T Radiant Max, using the main camera on the rear of the phone. Let me know what you think of both the video and audio quality with this device. Pretty quick autofocus there in video mode, which is great. And here's the 1080p test video using the ultra wide angle camera with the phone. It's pretty nice because it does allow you to fit more content into the frame.
Now internally, this phone is getting 3 gigabytes of RAM with the MediaTek Helio P22 processor. We ran a Geekbench 5 benchmark test on this phone and it came back with a single core score of 149 and a multi-core score of 875. So for being a completely entry-level phone, this is actually not too bad. You're not going to be able to do anything too complex on it like high performance gaming or editing videos with large files. But if you're using your phone for web browsing, social media use, basic mobile functions like talking and texting, and that sort of thing, you're going to have a pretty good experience. I'd say a vast majority of phones in this price range end up with a multi-core score around 400, maybe 500, and sometimes as low as 300. So in comparison to those phones, this is actually really good. So while it might not be the fastest phone in the world, there are really only one or two phones I can think of in this price range that have faster processors. As far as the battery goes, this phone has a 4000 mAh battery. So again, compared to a lot of other phones in this price range, this is actually really good. It's not exactly the best, but it's far from the worst. There are phones like the iPhone 12 that have a 2815 mAh battery. And then again, a lot of phones in this price range have batteries around the 3000 mAh range, usually under 3500. One phone that comes really close to this one is the Blue G71 that has a 5000 mAh battery, which is really the biggest you're gonna get at all. So a 4000 mAh battery really isn't that bad as far as this price range is concerned, and a lot of price ranges above this, even to the iPhone 12, which is supposed to be a flagship phone, there are only a few entry-level phones with bigger batteries than this one. So if you're looking for a phone that has lots of battery life per charge and is gonna last a little bit longer, if you like to get one phone and keep it for a long period of time, having a bigger battery like this is gonna be a good thing. Now that we've gone over some of the specs of the phone, let's take a closer look at the hardware. So the only thing really on the left side is the slot for the SIM card and the micro SD card. On the right, we have our volume keys and our power button. On the top, there's a 3.5mm headphone jack and the noise canceling microphone. On the bottom, we have our microphone, the USB-C charging port, and the speaker. And on the back, we have our triple camera setup and the flash and the fingerprint scanner right here. There's an AT&T logo down at the bottom. The back of the phone has a more glossy material that doesn't pick up too many fingerprints. It feels pretty sturdy, and overall, the materials on this phone are pretty high quality. They don't exactly feel premium, but they feel a lot better than the average phone at this price range. Now, in conclusion, is the AT&T Radiant Max worth buying in 2021? I would definitely say it is. Not only does it have a really nice looking display that's really big, especially compared to other phones in the price range, but it also is made of really solid, durable materials that feel good in the hand. It has pretty much every camera feature available to non-flagship phones, like an ultra-wide camera, macro camera, portrait mode, all of that stuff. The storage might not be the best, but it's pretty decent, especially considering so many phones in this price range have only 16 gigabytes of internal storage versus 32 with this phone. The processor is pretty decent. There are only a couple phones in this price range that I can think of that are actually more powerful than this one. And then of course, the battery is definitely above average. If you're looking for a phone that's gonna give you really good all-around performance for more basic activities and is going to take good pictures and provide good battery life and longevity, then this phone is definitely a solid option. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.